Welcome to the deep dive. Let's jump straight into the market action from today, May 20th, 2025.
Okay, so the Grok Trade summary, it showed kind of a pause, right? A digestion day for the big stock indices.
Yeah, exactly. The S&P 500, so the SPY, the Dow, DIA, and the NASDAQ, QQQ, all saw these small dips.
Minor moves down. But interestingly, the Russell 2000 was just flat, held its ground.
And here's where it gets really interesting, especially for you traders and investors listening.
What's that?
Well, while stocks were quiet, Bitcoin actually gained a bit. And precious metals, they rallied. Silver especially.
Ah, yes. That divergence is key. So our mission today is really to unpack these different moves using that Grok Trade summary.
Right. See what's most relevant for making smart decisions, whether you're trading short-term or investing longer-term.
So let's talk stocks first, these small dips. SPY, for instance, it's still hanging around that $600 resistance level.
Yeah, a key spot. Traders are watching that one closely, wondering if it'll break through or pull back.
Exactly. And the DIA, the Dow, it's holding above its 200-day moving average.
Which is, a decent sign of underlying support, at least from a longer-term perspective.
Mm-hmm. And the QQQ, the NASDAQ, just moving sideways.
Yep.
Sort of a wait-and-see game in tech, maybe.
Seems like it. And Grok Trade highlighted the Russell 2000, described it as basing sideways.
Like it's building energy.
Yeah. And for traders, that kind of consolidation, that tight range, it can often precede a bigger move up or down.
Definitely want to keep an eye on for potential signals. Now, connecting this to the broader economy, Grok Trade mentioned some mixed signals.
Right, like the Moody's downgrade of the U.S. credit rating, that caused a bit of a stir.
Yeah, citing rising government debt, that's, potentially a headwind for market sentiment overall.
But on the flip side, there's still that ongoing U.S.-China tariff truce kind of easing worries about a big global slowdown.
So you've got these sort of crosswinds blowing, the downgrade concern versus the trade optimism.
And then there's the Fed. Everyone's watching the Fed. The expectation is still for rate cuts, right?
Very much so. Reuters mentioned maybe 2 cuts by year end, potentially starting in September.
So how does that expectation factor in for investors, particularly?
Well, for investors, the prospect of rate cuts is often positive. It can make borrowing cheaper, maybe boost growth.
Okay.
But it also affects things like bond yields and, importantly, risk appetite. Lower rates might push investors towards, say, stocks or other riskier assets.
But the market's already pricing some of this in, presumably.
Oh, absolutely. So the real impact might come from any surprises. If the cuts happen sooner or later or are bigger or smaller than expected, that could cause some volatility.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Crypto. Bitcoin was up about 1%, just below its all-time highs.
Pretty notable strength, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at Ethereum or Solana, which are, quite a bit further from their peaks.
So is Bitcoin leading the charge again in crypto, or is it kind of doing its own thing?
That's the million-dollar question for crypto traders, isn't it? Its relative strength could mean it's seen as maybe the safer haven within crypto right now. Or maybe its proximity to the high is just attracting strong demand. Whether it pulls up the rest of the market, that remains to be seen.
And then, wow, precious metals, gold up nicely, almost 1.9%.
Yeah, solid day for gold.
But silver, that was the real standout, up about 2.4%.
Huge move. And importantly, as Grok Trade pointed out, it closed above both its 50-day and 20-day moving averages.
Key short-term indicator. So Grok Trade was asking, are the bulls ready to take it higher?
Exactly. For traders, breaking above those moving averages like that often signals a potential shift in momentum. Could be a buy signal.
You'd want to see some follow-through, I imagine.
Always. Confirmation is key in trading. You don't want to jump on a false breakout.
Okay, so stocks kind of paused, maybe pulled back slightly.
Amidst those mixed economic signals. The downgrade versus the trade truce and Fed hopes.
Right. While Bitcoin showed relative strength and silver had a really strong day. Potential breakout brewing there.
And it's just fascinating, isn't it, how these different assets react to the same big picture news. Really highlights the complexity for both traders and investors.
Okay, so let's leave you traders and investors with a final thought to chew on.
All right.
Given this backdrop, the stock market holding pattern, the economic uncertainty, Bitcoin's strength, silver's potential breakout, what single piece of upcoming economic data do you think will have the biggest impact on your strategy in the near term?
Yeah, think about how things like inflation data, jobs numbers, or maybe Fed commentary might ripple through these different markets.
Lots to consider. Thanks for diving deep with us.